Here is the full script, written according to your instructions. The video opens with a slow, cinematic shot of sunlight filtering through trees, or perhaps the gentle embers of a dying fire. The mood is contemplative and calm. Have you ever truly considered the weight of a simple invitation? Not the grand ones, the weddings, the formal dinners, but the small, almost insignificant offers that ripple through our daily lives. An invitation to share a coffee, to watch a movie, to simply exist in the same space for a while. We often see these as simple acts of kindness, a one-way street of giving. But what if they are something more? What if every offer, no matter how small, contains a hidden question? A quiet test of the space between two people. What if the most generous thing you can be offered isn't a gift, but a chance to contribute to it? This is a story about that hidden language. It's a story about two friends and some grilled sausages. And it might just change the way you look at every relationship you have. If you're interested in exploring the deeper mechanics of human connection, the subtle currents that define our friendships and partnerships, then you're in the right place. Consider subscribing, and let's journey into these ideas together. But first, a quick question for you. Think about the last time someone offered you something, a meal, a favor, a piece of advice. In that moment, what feels more valuable to you? A. Receiving the gift with no strings attached, a pure act of generosity. B. Being asked to play a small part in making that gift possible. Let me know your immediate, gut reaction answer in the comments below. A or B? There's no wrong answer, only a fascinating starting point for what we're about to uncover. Section 1. The grilling plan. The day was one of those rare, perfect creations. The kind of day that feels like a deep, cleansing breath after a long week. The air was crisp but the sun was warm, and the sky was a brilliant, cloudless blue that seemed to stretch into infinity. It was a day that demanded a simple, primal ritual. Fire. Food. And the peace of the outdoors. My plan was simple. I was going to grill some sausages. I had everything I needed. The grill, the charcoal, the sausages themselves, patiently waiting in their package. It was a plan for one. A quiet communion with nature, a moment of solitary contentment. There is a unique and profound comfort in being alone without being lonely. I was setting up my small camp, arranging the grill, feeling the satisfying weight of the charcoal in my hands, when a voice cut through the quiet. Hey! That smells like a plan. It was my friend, Alex. He had that familiar, infectious grin on his face, the kind that always seemed to herald an unexpected turn in the day's events. He'd been on a walk nearby and had seen my small setup. Grilling sausages? He asked, his eyes already lit with the universal joy of food cooked over an open flame. You can't do that alone. That's a crime against friendship. He was joking, of course, but there was a truth in his words. Some pleasures are amplified when shared. The warmth of a fire feels warmer when someone else is sitting beside you. The taste of food is richer when you can see the enjoyment on another's face. My initial, selfish impulse was a fleeting one. A desire to protect my quiet moment, my solitary plan. But it was quickly replaced by something else. The recognition that the day, as perfect as it was, could be made more so. The silent landscape was beautiful, but a shared laugh could make it vibrant. The meal would be good, but a shared story could make it memorable. I guess you want in, I said, smiling. Does a bear live in the woods? He shot back. Of course, I want in. What do I need to do? And that was the moment everything shifted. Section 2, a collaborative task. He asked, what do I need to do? Not, can I have one? The difference between those two questions is the difference between being a spectator and being a participant. It's the difference between being a guest and being a partner. A guest receives. A partner creates. I looked at my setup. I had a bag of charcoal, sure. I could have easily lit it and been cooking in minutes. It would have been efficient. I could have cooked the sausages, handed one to him, and we would have eaten. It would have been a nice gesture. A gift. But a gift, in its purest form, can sometimes create an invisible imbalance. It creates a giver and a receiver. It can, if we're not careful, subtly reinforce a sense of debt, however small. I didn't want him to be my guest. I didn't want him to feel like he was receiving a handout. I wanted him to share in the entire experience, not just the final product. I wanted the meal to belong to us. So, I looked around at the woods surrounding us, at the carpet of fallen leaves and twigs. I was going to use charcoal, I said, but I think a real wood fire would be better. Tastes different. Feels different. I looked him in the eye. But it's a bit of work. How about this? I'll get the sausages prepped and everything else ready to go. You be in charge of the fire. Go find us some good, dry firewood. Enough for a solid cooking flame. This wasn't a transaction. It wasn't you do this for me, and I'll give you this. It was an invitation to invest. It was a way of saying, let's build this moment together. Your effort is as crucial as mine. Your contribution has value. By asking him to gather the wood, I was giving him a stake in the outcome. The fire would be his. The warmth, his accomplishment. The foundation of our meal, his contribution. The sausages would taste better to him, not just because of the wood smoke, but because he had earned them. He had poured his own time and energy into the process. This is a psychological principle we often overlook. We value what we have to work for. We cherish the things we help create. He didn't hesitate. His grin widened. Deal, he said. You're not getting just any wood. I'm going to find the best, driest, most perfectly seasoned firewood this forest has to offer. You just make sure those sausages are ready for their glorious debut. And with that, he turned and disappeared into the trees, on a mission. And I was left with my own task, feeling a new sense of excitement. This was no longer my solitary lunch. It was our collaborative feast. Section 3, Gathering Firewood. Imagine being Alex in that moment. You've just been given a purpose. You are no longer just a bystander hoping for a share, you are the firebringer. The provider of heat. It sounds dramatic, but in that small, self-contained world of two friends and a clearing in the woods, it's a role of vital importance. His walk through the woods was no longer a simple stroll. It was a hunt. His eyes, which moments before were just passively taking in the scenery, were now scanning, analyzing. He wasn't just looking for wood, he was looking for the right wood. Not the damp, moss-covered logs lying in the shade, but the branches that had been baked by the sun, stripped of their moisture, light and brittle to the touch. He would have felt the satisfying snap of a dry twig breaking cleanly in his hands, the sound of good fuel. He would have run his fingers over the rough, peeling bark of a fallen silver birch, knowing it would catch a spark with incredible ease. This process connects you to the environment in a way that opening a bag of charcoal never can. You're engaging with the natural world, reading its signs, understanding its properties. He wasn't just collecting sticks. He was collecting potential. Each piece he picked up was a promise of warmth, a promise of a crackling sound, a promise of the smoky aroma that would soon infuse the air. He probably started with small kindling, the delicate, finger-thin twigs that would be the first to ignite. Then he would have moved on to the slightly thicker branches, the backbone of the fire. And finally, the larger, more substantial pieces that would burn long and slow, creating the perfect bed of hot coals for cooking. As his pile grew, so did his sense of accomplishment. This was his tangible contribution. He could see it, hold it, measure it. When he finally had an armful, a generous collection that was more than enough, he would have felt a surge of pride. He wasn't returning empty-handed. He was returning as a successful provider, a key partner in the endeavor. The walk back to the clearing would have felt different. The weight of the wood in his arms wasn't a burden, it was a trophy. It was proof of his effort, the physical manifestation of his yes to the shared experience. Section 4, Cooking together. When he emerged from the trees, his arms laden with wood, I had everything else ready. The sausages were out of their package, a small grilling rack was cleaned and placed over the fire.